Hey ESPN, I'm Jack.
And I'm Miles from the Daily Zeitgeist, a daily comedic news podcast that answers the question,
what if Stephen A. Smith spoke at a normal volume and his opinions were based on fact and not completely insane? This probably isn't the best way to describe this.
No, you just negated the two things Stephen A. Smith is known for.
Okay, what if The Daily Show was hosted by us?
Yes, but who is us?
Okay, I'm Jack. I'm the co-founder of Crack.com.
And I'm Miles. I love soccer and get very nervous when I'm pulled over by the police.
He's also a former lobbyist who quit politics for comedy.
Yeah. Well, look, we covered news, the president, pop culture, and we're both very big sports fans.
I'm actually named after my grandfather, legendary NBA coach and ESPN alum Dr. Jack Ramsey.
Oh, yeah? Well, I'm named after Miles Davis, the legendary heroin addict who is not my grandfather.
So search the Daily Zeitgeist. If you don't know how to spell zeitgeist, like most of us, just type in Daily Z. It'll figure it out for you. On Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever fine podcasts are given away for free.
And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head to death.
Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood.
Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Give me your boom.
Here's Jalen Rose.
What up, though?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in.
And we are Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio. What do we do?
We get the people what they want.
That's a great idea. Let's start right now. It's getting late.
Mm-hmm.
Phil Jackson's at the bar. He's looking for a dance partner. Cavs turned him down. He's looking around. He's like, Clippers? Doc? You want to talk? Is Danny Ainge still in my phone? Let me look if Danny Ainge is still in my phone. There are reports that the Knicks are trying to ship Carmelo, rebuffed by the Cleveland Cavaliers. The latest rumors that you heard here yesterday was that
Preach to me.
they could potentially move Carmelo to the Clippers.
No.
Broken news.
So, initially, when I talked about that on this program, the blowback I got from fans and people who follow the game and a couple of people that just text and email me that support the program, follow the NBA, and are up to the minute on breaking news, they questioned why would the Knicks do it without adding Blake Griffin? Because that's what everybody had always put out there.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at it on paper, it makes more sense to the Clippers to add Carmelo with more years on his deal, which he has 2 seasons remaining.
And there's also a little wrinkle here, Jalen. The Knicks are prohibited by the collective bargaining agreement to add Blake Griffin. So it's not that they don't want to add Blake Griffin. They literally cannot. It is against the letter of the law. Continue.
And so, but just take it from a basketball sense. You're trying to beat Golden State. And you don't beat Golden State by giving up former All-Stars that can still potentially perform at an elite level. And so if you now have CP3, Blake, DeAndre, and Carmelo, you say we could go eye to eye with the Warriors.
That looks pretty good. Like, that sounds pretty good to me.
And so why would you do it if you're the Knicks? First and foremost, if you're the Knicks, while he's been a productive player, an all-star level player, I'm already on wax saying the New York Knickerbockers are going to retire Carmelo Anthony's number
That's
one.
disgusting. Don't ever say that again in this program.
You have to get from under, A, his contract, B, from the fact since you traded him from the Nuggets, they actually have a better record than you, and C, he's not that elite type of prospect where he should have a no-trade clause at this point of his career, because that's going to hamper your ability to move him.
He has been productive for New York. Like, his numbers are good, but as someone who watches all the games, it's just not a fit. Like, moving forward, Carmelo Anthony for this franchise is not going to bring them where they need to go. The Knicks and Phil Jackson are going to get rid of Carmelo Anthony. They're not putting this back together. He is not going to be on this team at the end of the season.
And so when you're an athlete, sometimes getting traded, like as you mentioned, like get rid of or get shipped out, like those terms get attributed when it's actually better for the player and better for the team, because remember, it takes 2 parties to do a deal. That means you're going to a squad that actually wants you.
Yes.
And in Carmelo's case, a place you want to be. Because guess what? If Carmelo wanted to be in New York, guess what? He could stay in New York.
He can do whatever he wants.
So they're not shipping him anywhere. They're not getting rid of him.
It's a great point. There is this negative connotations, especially with Carmelo Anthony, who like the world sees as this fading star who once upon a time had this chance to be a great champion, but was too much of a selfish player to make it happen. Like that is not the case.
And so the Clippers, in return, say, how can we match the 25 points on average we're getting? Jamal Crawford has done that in the Knicks uniform. He can get you 50-20 on a nightly basis. And Austin Rivers can get you 10 to 15 on a nightly basis.
On one night, and then go 3 for 15 on the next night.
And when you look at their roster, you're like, man, they have a glutton of guards. Derrick Rose, Brandon Jennings, Courtney Lee. Well, here's another chess move. You ready for a chess move? I don't want to be like Ice Cube and drop my brew on this one and you can't fade me. Now all of a sudden you can move Brandon Jennings to the Cavs.
Wait a second. So you've got this surplus of guards. We're assuming they do the Clippers deal. You're 2 deals away. A surplus of guards. The Cavs are looking for a playmaker. They're looking to appease LeBron. They're looking to do something with a backup point guard. I think Brandon Jennings checks those boxes.
And the third person you add with Jamal and Austin, Paul Pierce's deal to make the money work. And I know to the people who follow this fine program, I'm sorry if I'm repeating broken news, and you're going to see it on the ticker, and a lot of people are going to be talking about it like it's fresh. That's why it's important for you to follow this program, because we give the people what they want and first. And Paul Pierce, guess what's going to happen after he gets traded? We talked about
They're going to ship him up to Boston, and he is going to say, thank you very much. I'll get paid for the rest of this year, but I'm going to retire.
In theory. They're going to release him. He's going to pick up the phone to the Celtics and say, hey, can I retire a Celtic?
Like, come on, Danny.
We're going to do a one-day deal.
Danny, look around your office. You see all those pictures of me? You see those rings? Look around your office.
And Paul will be back in L.A. on this podcast.
Oh, that sounds nice. Now, I'm glad that you mentioned the Celtics, because, Phil, one thing about any sort of business deal you want to make, especially if you're in the selling position, you want to create a market. There is nothing that you would like more than this word, a bidding war. Right? When you're trying to sell something, you want a bidding war. So you can't just have the Clippers be the only suitor, especially since you've been rebuffed. Phil's at the bar. You know what I mean? And he's not just going to put one line in the water. Apparently, the Celtics are also a team that Phil is looking to move Carmelo Anthony to.
I think at this point of Melo's career, if he can't play with an absolute contender, in particular LeBron in the Cavs, or the Clippers in the West with CP3, Blake and DeAndre, since he's choosing his destination, who he plays with has to factor in it.
Of course. But here's a question. Would Phil Jackson even reach out to Danny Ainge? Would this even be a conversation if he didn't feel that Carmelo would, or if he didn't speak to Carmelo already and Carmelo said he would waive it for the Celtics?
This would not work for the Celtics. They are the party that would say no. Not the other way around.
Let me pitch it this way. The Celtics are currently sitting like right at number 2 in the East. And they're within striking distance to the Cavs, who have been pretty bad lately, in case you didn't notice. So if you are the Celtics, they've been a very prudent organization. They have not added that superstar. They like sort of backed into Isaiah Thomas. This is maybe now is the time. You can get Carmelo Anthony at 60 cents on the dollar.
To add Carmelo Anthony, I'm not giving up. You know where I'm going here.
I know where you're going.
Who?
Let me give you some potential deals that work
Who
with the
am I
ESPN
not
trade
giving
machine.
up?
You are not giving up your guy, Avery Bradley, okay? No. But we have some deals that don't involve Avery Bradley. Amir Johnson, Tyler Zeller.
So you're going to sell that to the Garden crowd?
Yeah, the Knicks aren't saying that.
No.
Amir Johnson, Tyler Zeller, Jay Crowder.
Is Spike Lee still going to be coming to the games?
Yeah, Spike Lee's always going to come to the games.
I haven't seen him.
No.
He's there. Spike Lee's always there. He's probably filming a movie or something. Avery Bradley, Tyler Zeller, Jalen Brown.
No.
It takes 2 parties to make a trade. And if I have to give up Avery Bradley and or Crowder to get Melo, and I'm the Celtics, I'm not doing that. Because when you have Isaiah Thomas, a 5'9" point guard that averages 28 points, and showing that he can be explosive, you added Al Horford via free agency, you need those defensive-oriented tough guys that are going to do all of the dirty work.
Yes,
and
they have been fueling this Celtics engine to this point.
And Marcus Smart can't make up that.
No. Another thing to look at is Carmelo's contract. He's going to play this year. He's going to play next year. And then there's an option for the 3rd year. So whoever is going to trade for Melo, like, he might not be around for as long as you think.
And the reason why, if you're the Celtics, it's attractive to you, besides the fact he could be a productive player, is you haven't had to pay Isaiah Thomas the big money you're going to eventually have to pay him.
You know I love this because I love anything that gets Carmelo Anthony out of New York. But you know who doesn't love this? Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson's like, I have to work. Phil's like, oh, come on now. I just broke up. I'm single. He's like, I thought I was going to spend the winter in the Bahamas and hedonism on the single side.
That's
now
very
he's like,
nice.
man, now I got to pick up the phone and call people. LeBron's upset. LeBron's mad. Cavs are losing in overtime. Boogie Cousins is getting big buckets.
Boogie!
Kyle Korver's running around all over the place. LeBron's mad. LeBron's so mad he shaved his beard off. He was like, you know what, enough of this. I'm mad. You know why he's mad? Reportedly. He's mad reportedly because the Cavs won't spend enough money on the roster. Doughboy has a simple question about the situation in Cleveland.
Oh, we got a problem here?
Yes, if you're trying to win a championship. Breaking news. If Draymond Green had not gotten suspended for Game 5, deep down, LeBron probably knows what I know. The Warriors win that series.
Hard for me to disagree with that.
The Cavs did something that never has been done in the history of the NBA Finals. Return from a 3-1 deficit and actually win the championship. Mm-hmm. That probably isn't going to happen again. And therefore, while losing Harrison Barnes and Andrew Bogut, you gain Kevin Durant, who's now leading the team in scoring, shooting 54% from the floor, leading the team in blocks.
Great on defense and offense, dunking, threes.
They're better.
A lot better.
Yes, they depleted their bench, and you gave up a lot of will to get more skill.
But LeBron, we got Kay Felder and Kyle Korver.
There was a time I was watching the game yesterday. LeBron was on the floor. He was on the court with, you're going to need the buzzer for this one, James Jones, Kyle Korver, and Channing Frye. You know what all of those guys have in common? Really good three-point shooting. You know what else they all have in common? If they dribble more than once, it's an accident.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's what he means by more playmaking. Kyrie or he has to be on the floor literally at all time. If you add a player like Carmelo, now all of a sudden he also plays with the second unit. And you know who else looks better during this period? J.R. Smith.
Yep.
He's their knockdown, catch and shoot, three-point heat check guy that can make 6 threes in a quarter. They don't have that knockout punch with him out of the game. So now that wear and tear frustrates LeBron, but you know what else it does? It forces them to lose multiple games recently. To the Kings at home. To the Pelicans without Anthony Davis. Like, these are glaring losses. And I know there are going to be people that say, don't panic. It's not about winning only last season. In LeBron's head, I can win 2 more real quick if we get a couple of more players.
Here's why I think LeBron is upset. I think off wax, behind closed doors, when he was about to decide to go back to Cleveland, there were conditions. And one of those conditions was, LeBron, if you come here, we are going to give you a blank check. We will go over the cap, whatever. Whatever it takes to get us a championship back to this city of Cleveland, we will do that. And do you know what they did? They did that once. And now LeBron is looking across the table and saying, we need to get Carmelo. Oh, we need to spend money on Michael Beasley. We need to spend money on Ray Felton. We need to do all these moves. We have an open roster spot. Let's spend some money. And you know what they're saying? Yeah, remember when we said you had a blank check? Well, now there's some writing on it. And that blank check is closed. And I feel that LeBron feels like they are not holding up their end of the deal when he decided to go there.
And it's not just about winning the division, winning the East. It's about winning back-to-back championships. And if you've watched NBA ball closely this year, you know the Golden State Warriors lead the league in offensive and defensive efficiency. They're balling. Mm-hmm. And in order to beat them, they're going to have a gauntlet to get through the West. And yes, if they make it to the finals, which I predict that they will, they're going to be a team that has a level of fatigue. That was an advantage for the Cavs that they can't lose by having to slug it out for 82 regular season games. They need to go ahead, secure the number 1 spot, breeze through the first round, 4-1 in the second round, 4-1 in the finals, and then LeBron can rest for a while and then have the mustard that he had in Game 6 and Game 7 to finish out a long series.
And that is the formula. Part of that formula is resting LeBron during the regular season. And that is why he is on the table screaming playmaker, 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 because you can't really take minutes away from LeBron based on the current roster, and you also can't give him what he needs. He always goes on a little vacay. You know Bron likes his little vacay.
I need a vacation.
Everybody likes a little vacay. You know what I mean? Everybody needs a little time away. LeBron always gets a little time away.
Vacation.
It's hard for him to step away when he's just giving the keys to the car to Kyrie and only Kyrie.
I need somebody else to play these minutes. And Melo will be hungry to win a championship. He'd be the third best player on the team.
Is there any chance this gets revitalized? Is there any chance? Because I want it to happen. I want Carmelo on the Cavs.
It's tough when it gets on wax this way because now all of a sudden it's who's going to blink first. And you said something that can't get overlooked. You asked us to do these things. We already did them. You guys won the championship. We have rings. We didn't say this is going to be a lifetime achievement of us quadrupling going over the salary cap.
I know, but LeBron is saying, yes, you did say that. There's a miscommunication
No, we said to bring a championship to Cleveland.
And then
we've
LeBron,
already done
does.
it.
He goes, Rich, what did they say? You were in the room, Rich. Rich, tell them what they said. Did they say that we could do this over and over again?
No,
that they would never consider
to
not
bring
spending?
a championship to Cleveland.
Do you know what makes all of this, just all of the drama swirling around the Cavs, the losses, the negativity in the locker room, he's shaving his beard off. Do you know what just caps all of this off?
What's that?
Chloe's mad at Tristan. Reportedly, Tristan's been spending time with his baby mama and his new child, and guess who's upset with that? Khloe Kardashian. Can we chalk all of this up to the Kardashian presence? That's the only thing that changed from last year to this year.
We've talked since training camp when Odell Beckham showed up a day or two late, and then we look up a month later, she was with Tristan. Mm-hmm. And I broke it down on this very program. They met at a wedding. Kevin Hart was the person that was actually tying the knot. All of a sudden, Tristan, who was with a girlfriend at the time, all of a sudden leaves his girlfriend who's pregnant.
And thus has brought on the Kardashian curse in the Cavs.
So with Khloe, the baby's born. Yeah, you can fly me on the jet to go see my shorty, but this is not going to be the only trip.
You know what? The Cavs do have a top-heavy organization.
Kardashians.
And Tristan does have a bottom-heavy
What's
girlfriend.
the nickname you have for her?
Things aren't just falling apart in New York. Things aren't just falling apart in Cleveland. Things are falling apart in Chicago. By this time of the day, you've already heard what Dwayne Wade and Jimmy Butler had to say about their teammates, but here's what our man Nick Friedel has, a quote from Wade, quote, "I can look at Jimmy and say Jimmy's doing his job. Jimmy can look at me and say Dwayne's doing his job.
Aww.
But not everybody else.
With sensitivity."
So Dwayne Wade and Jimmy Butler are basically saying to all of their teammates that they don't care about winning, and that they're the only ones trying. What are they doing, Mr. Rose?
Well, Taj Gibson doesn't deserve that.
We can name a few players that don't deserve
Lopez
that.
doesn't deserve that. I'm talking about in particular.
Okay.
Like, that's the reason those two guys are seasoned vets, because they do play hard every game. So the dynamics of a locker room, in particular with those two guys, that can really get personal.
There's another seasoned vet in the team.
Rajon Rondo.
Yes, sir.
And so I remember being in Chicago. Rajon Rondo had a triple-double. They beat the Cavs.
Mm-hmm.
The next night, the team played at Dallas. Dwayne Wade stayed.
Didn't make the trip.
It was one of the back-to-backs. He was going to miss the game.
His boy Bron was there.
It's correct. Coincidentally.
Just so happened.
Now, the next night is when Rajon Rondo actually gets into an altercation with the coaching staff.
Oh, that's right.
And gets suspended.
That's right.
And I came on this program and said, we talked about Wade going there to A, be a leader, B, show Jimmy Butler the ropes. When you don't go on the trip, you not only fracture the situation by not being there to be a buffer for Rondo, you also show Butler that, I guess it is okay to take nights off.
I guess so. Yep. So now they've got this there are 13 players and a bunch of coaches that are all looking at Jimmy and Dwayne and being like, what are you doing? Why are you throwing me under the bus?
Now, here's another thing. Dwayne Wade, at this point of his career, has actually earned the right to pick and choose certain games that he may rest. And on paper, they already designate what those games are going to be. Mm-hmm. So there wasn't a surprise.
Yep.
But Rajon Rondo, who saw a different way when he was in Boston, just like Dwayne Wade saw a definitely different way when he was in Miami.
Well, Rajon did see a different way when he was in Boston. And you know what? You're wondering, is everyone else going to keep quiet?
And Jimmy saw a different way under Coach Tibbs.
Is everyone else going to keep quiet? Well, Rajon Rondo's not going to keep quiet. He went on Instagram. He posted a picture of himself wearing the green and white of the Boston Celtics, along with Paul Pierce and Kevin Durant. And his caption was poetic.
Something is notably absent from that picture because he's still doing a petty wop thing, too.
With Kevin Garnett.
No. Ray Allen.
Yep.
His caption was long. It was impactful. It was also poetic. Selections from Rajon Rondo's Instagram. My vets would never go to the media. They would come to the team. My vets didn't pick and choose when they wanted to bring it. My vets didn't care about numbers. My vets played for the team. When we lost, they wouldn't blame us.
No.
My vets didn't have an influence on the coaching staff. They couldn't change the plan because it didn't work for them. My goal is to pass what I learned along. The young guys work. They show up. They don't deserve blame. If anything is questionable, it's the leadership. That was My Vets by Rajon Rondo on Instagram. What happens next, Jalen Rose?
Fred Hoiberg loses his job.
Ooh, there's a lot of years on that contract.
When you have this type of fracture from within, the implosion takes place, but you can't move everyone. And there's been talk whether the Bulls should move Jimmy Butler. That's not a smart move.
That's the only piece they can move, but it's kind of the only real piece they have.
Here's what happens in the NBA. The teams that make the playoffs in the East have one high-level all-star. The contending teams usually have two or more. That's what they have. So many players that they've drafted have not taken that next leap to stardom. Bobby Portis, Mirotic, McDermott, Snell. You want one of those players to become a running mate to Jimmy.
There was a while where you're like, they've got all these great young guys. Wait till they go from C pluses to A minuses, and it just didn't happen.
And so when that does not happen, you do have some depth now that you can move them for some pieces. LaMarcus Aldridge. But at this point, blowing it up should not mean trading Jimmy Butler. And Dwayne Wade, this experiment in Chicago, I'm on wax of saying this. Everybody was cheering when Dwayne Wade was throwing out the first pitch. Everybody was getting excited about the season that was going on in Chicago.
Gabrielle's not getting too comfortable.
I'm like, wait a minute.
Gabrielle's not getting comfortable.
They're going to have Rajon Rondo in the same backcourt of Dwayne Wade in a three-point shooting league? Is that happening?
Gabrielle Union is looking around at the apartment and the furniture and being like, well, I'm not going to put any more work into this. We won't be here too long.
And so it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But how about this? The gentlemen you call LeBron's Banana Boat Boys, can you tell me their names?
CP3, Dwayne Wade, and he wasn't on the boat, but he's a Banana Boat Boy, Carmelo Anthony.
So besides what they did to start the ESPYs, which I love my social and political athletes, no shots here at all.
Yes, it was excellent.
You know what else they have in common? The other three? None of them got chosen to play in this year's All-Star game.
They did announce the reserves for the All-Star game in the Eastern Conference. We have Isaiah Thomas, John Wall, Kyle Lowry, Kemba Walker, Paul George, Kevin Love, Paul Millsap. Noticeably missing was Joel Embiid.
No, he's not.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he didn't even play. Like, you've literally worked, 40% of the amount the rest of them did. He's on a minutes restriction. He didn't even start till later. He's been impressive, but he is not all-star caliber.
So this is So this is an interesting point I want to bring up. And by the way, CP3 got snubbed. He deserved to be in. So let me just throw that out there.
We can all understand why he wasn't.
No, we can't. You can name him and then put Gordon Hayward after.
That's fair. I mean, that's probably the right thing to do.
Yeah, that's what should have happened.
Probably the right thing to do. And he's probably upset about that. He's upset about that.
That's the only thing. But
then, no, we got to go to the Western Conference. You're going to bring that up.
No,
you did. You already brought up CP3, man. We were talking about the Eastern. Now you brought up CP3. Okay, here are the Western Conference reserves. Russell Westbrook, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Gordon Hayward, Marcus Cousins, otherwise known as
Boogie,
Marcus Saul, and DeAndre Jordan.
So here's, as a player, where things start to change. And this is where I talk about the level of, if somebody calls you a veteran, it's a proud term to be attributed to a professional athlete.
Of course.
Because that means you had staying power. That's the hardest thing to do in any profession. Reinvent yourself consistently. So you know about Dirk, Paul, and Vince. They're in their twilight. They're going to the Hall of Fame. When you watch their teams play, you don't realize that you're not saying their names often. Mm-hmm. But you don't miss it because you know they're past their prime.
Sure.
When you're CP3, who got snubbed, Melo, Wade, and Dwight, who are currently all starting on teams, but you don't make the All-Star game, that's a big-time gut check.
That's interesting. They do have to look in the mirror and say, I'm no longer an NBA All-Star, but I'm an NBA starter. How do I need to change the way I play? I just got sad. You made me sad. I'm going to cry now. I thought that last year's dunk contest was one of the most entertaining I've ever seen in my life. And yes, I have seen all of the old ones that everyone's going to say, no, you're wrong because Dominique and Jordan. It was top 5 dunk contests I've ever seen. I loved it. I thought it was creative, inventive, and just a nice showcase of athletic skills, mainly between Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine. Both of those players aren't exactly at the level where you say, you know what, I'm not going to be in the dunk contest. Zach LaVine has said, you know what, I'm not going to be in the dunk contest. What? I'm upset about this.
Why?
I wanted a rematch. Aaron Gordon's going to be there. And Aaron Gordon should have won last year. And anyone who watched it knows that.
If you want to be upset about something, when you have your remote control in your hand and you're watching League Pass, be upset when you click to a team and a player's resting that could be playing. Be upset about that. Don't be upset about a guy defending a dunk championship when he can actually do that anytime he gets ready. He's a young player. How about allowing somebody else to get cachet,
he's not there
win
yet.
The championship?
He's not there yet.
And then all of a sudden next year, you return.
I think you have a dunk contest run in your early career that doesn't just last, 2 or 3 years.
When you got the kind of hops like Vince Carter still doing 360s in a game,
they're layups
40
now,
years
though.
old.
They're layups now, though. They used to be dunks. They're layups now.
Correct. Zach LaVine is going to always have bounce. So he can return next year after. How about just resting up for a second half run for Minnesota and trying to earn a consistent opportunity to get minutes and put up numbers? I mean, he, Wiggins, and Karl-Anthony Towns are a terrific trio. It also goes to what I told you yesterday. A guy much rather would play in the game on Sunday than be in a dunk contest or participate in one of the other activities.
Zach LaVine's not in consideration for the All-Star game.
If he got picked, would he go?
Sure.
And I want to point out one other thing.
I'm good.
I love the NFL, but here's the difference between the two sports. None of these players are going to turn down the opportunity to play.
No, not to play.
In the NFL, you got to invite 199 players to get 80 plus to come show up.
You know what you're going to see on Saturday City Dunk Contest? You're going to see the 3-point competition. You're going to skip the skills competition. That's when when to tune in. But you know what you're not going to see? Drones carrying basketballs flying into the sky and then dropping them and people catching it.
No.
Do you know what you're not going to see? Dodgeball.
No.
They're not going to be like, you know what we're going to do this year? We're going to play a different sport. We're going to ping pong tournament.
No.
I would probably rather watch a ping pong tournament.
I would rather watch NFL players compete at John Madden than do any of the things you just said.
Yep.
John Wall is feeling himself.
Feeling myself.
Wizards are looking
Feeling
good.
myself.
Wizards have got it. If you don't know, the Wizards are hot right now.
They balling.
And
Because of John Wall.
And after you win, you're feeling good about yourself. And you say things like this, quote, "We're the best backcourt in the league."
What?
Everyone gets excited. You know what I mean? You even catch me being like, we've got the best podcast, radio, television show in the game.
Well, that's true.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That is true.
I'm seeing a lot of people, and Jacoby doesn't like when I do this.
Nope, don't do it.
biting our business formats and our techniques like rabies.
Yep.
One day, I would love to do a social play for our fans when they see people borrowing things from us to just let us know.
Get off the bandwagon.
Do the Wizards have the best backcourt in the league?
No, Splash Brothers.
Do we have the best podcast in the game?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Thank you.
But we're the second most handsome duo at ESPN.
Yeah.
You want to tell them who's the
most
first?
handsome duo is easily Tony and Mike.
Yep.
It's a handsome gentleman. But every day I wake up in the morning, I say, one day we can match them if Jalen would stop wearing goofy glasses. Steve Kerr said that Steph Curry could be, kind of is, more popular than Michael Jeffrey Jordan. He explained, and he does kind of have a point.
What?
I understand skewing to a younger audience.
Exactly.
And I understand the influence of social media broadens the horizons of those individuals. And now in the computer age, that popularity is going to be heightened through Steph Curry, the basketball player who's a two-time MVP and a champion, so very young. He looks young. Also, here's the thing that you normally don't see professional athletes and entertainers able to do. Actually be themselves publicly.
Can I say something? I was watching the Warriors game. Steph Curry was watching the dancers, and he was on the bench, and he was goofing off, sort of like following their choreography, and this thought went through my head, and I'm glad you brought this up. Mm-hmm. Is he the only superstar in the history of the NBA that is a complete and total goofball? And there is something that's extremely likable about that. Like, he's a goofball. He's kind of like corny cool. You know, like he's not steely, stare at you, like I'm got my headphones on and I'm just gonna grimace as I walk down the tunnel in my crazy clothes. He's approachable, he smiles a lot, and he's funny. Like he's like how Michael Jordan's not dancing when he's on the bench. You know what I mean? Like, I can't think of another NBA. LeBron James is not doing that. I can't think of another NBA superstar that is goofy like he is goofy, and it's very approachable and likable.
And with that, you also get a chance to see him open up and let us behind the curtain, because LeBron, during the Obama administration, represented the first family of sports. Now, it could be said that that's the Currys. Here's why. You see him be a grandson, a son, a husband, a dad, and he has a brother that plays in the league.
He does. And another thing about this is, like, I follow them on social media. They put a lot of their stuff out there. You know what I mean? Like, everyone who has social media makes a decision of how much they want to show, how much they want to open their lives up. And no judgment on anyone that opens everything up, and no judgment on anyone that closes everything down. But he gives a lot to his fans via social media. Like, there's a lot of intimate moments around the house. There's stuff in the background. It's just like they open up a lot of their lives to us.
Genuine is the term that
Never
comes
feels
to mind.
forced.
And that's the toughest balance as a public figure. Are you the person that you say you are publicly?
Isaiah Thomas had another huge night, 38 points. Should Isaiah Thomas be in the MVP consideration?
So here's the thing. Media members get bored and they're going to just start throwing names out there for conversation's sake.
Yep.
When you're having a historic season like Russell Westbrook and James Harden, those are the top two candidates.
You got Kawhi Leonard out there. You got LeBron James out there. Like, Isaiah Thomas doesn't play defense.
Kevin Durant.
However, Deion Waiters hit another game-winning three. Should he be in the MVP consideration? Yep.
Not at all. But
What?
if you're starting a team on Saturday,
What?
who got next? LeBron, Kawhi, Steph, KD, Russell, or James Harden? Who got next?
Me, Lance Stevenson, Mitch McGary, Jalen Rose. I'm a big fan of Drake's. I love his music. I think he's funny. When he hosted the ESPY Awards, I had the chance to meet him. He really pretended like he liked me and he cared about me when he shook my hand and said, "What's up?" You know, like I'm drinking the Drake Kool-Aid. He went on the Calcast,
What up, Coach? I got your message.
John Calipari's podcast.
I'll come on to represent.
And he had a really interesting nugget that he dropped. Breaking news from Drake.
I don't even know if if I'm like allowed to say this yet. We'll find out, but I'll say it anyway. I'm actually producing and hosting the first annual NBA Awards this year.
I like that.
I love hosting. I love being in a room full of just iconic, legendary people that I look up to, and having that pressure to make them laugh and enjoy their evening. So hopefully that'll go well.
Two things. One, he was talking about me when he says he loves being in a room with iconic people that he looks up to and trying to make them laugh. Two, what are the NBA awards?
He dropped a bomb.
What are the NBA awards?
So, first and foremost, let's not act like that they didn't happen the last 2 years.
But they had the players awards, but there's like, bump everything else. You're MVP and whatever. We've got our own over here, and now Drake has his own NBA awards.
What? This, I think, is a hybrid between not doing that at all, the NBA Players Association having the Players Awards, by the way, which I contributed both years, and now creating some sense of ownership to get the players to actually show up and enjoy themselves.
Do you know what's going to get the players to actually show up and enjoy themselves? Drake hosting. Yep. I was at that after ESPY's party. Do you know what the players were doing? Having a good time. And I will keep all of those stories off wax. Drake, congratulations on hosting the NBA Awards.
Drizzy.
Whatever the NBA Awards are, I look forward to them.
Yep.
It is going to be Serena Williams against Venus Williams in the Australian Open final. Every time these two match up, I root for Venus. Because Serena is always the favorite. I want Venus to win. When you watch the Williams sisters go head-to-head, who do you root for?
I root for a great match.
Oh, come on, Jalen.
And to be honest, not to sound cheesy here, but I actually root for their parents.
Oh, my God.
I do.
Oh, my God.
Do you know how dynamic the situation went from being two young people playing tennis as minorities in Compton to being Hall of Famers? It's truly amazing what they've accomplished, and they don't get enough credit for their dominance.
11 of the last 12 Super Bowl winners have been wearing white.
All
the
white,
Falcons
everything. All white,
will
everything.
be in red. My question to you is the Super Bowl already over?
Has no bearing.
11 of the last 12, Jalen.
The Falcons are explosive.
Okay, just go with me down this hypothetical highway. Me and you have been to Las Vegas before, right?
Yep.
We are walking through the casino. We see the roulette wheel. We know in our intelligent, logical minds that these are all mutually exclusive events. The ball does not pick which pattern it does. The previous drops of the ball have nothing to do with this one. But if you're looking at it and it goes red, 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 black, red, you know that something's going on there. You can't just dismiss it as being completely having no bearing on the game.
I will, because I'm picking the Falcons.
I'm picking the Patriots, and they are definitely going to win because they're wearing white jerseys. Bryant Gumbel dropped a bomb. Quote, I own 3 Prince songs that have never seen the light of day.
What?
And you're wondering, how could this happen? Bryant Gumbel and Prince have an interesting relationship. And when he was launching his show, he commissioned Prince to do the theme song of his show. Prince did one. Bryant Gumbel was like, let's go back to the drawing board. Prince did another. Bryant Gumbel was like, close. Let's make these changes. Prince did a third. Bryant Gumbel still wasn't feeling it. Didn't know how to tell Prince he wasn't going to use them. And then just kind of deaded it because it was getting embarrassing for both of them. I have a lot of questions about this. But number one is, does Bryant Gumbel own it to the people at this point to release the 3 Prince tracks that he is holding to himself?
Sure, I think he wants to because he brought it up. He didn't have to acknowledge it at all, so we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Do you think there are other shows that get custom theme songs done by musicians that they're not 100% happy with, but they're like, you know what? This musician did it, so we're going to ride with it?
Absolutely. I think it happens both ways. Because especially in sports, you want to commission the artist to do something for your show. Mm-hmm. When you get it in return, they already got paid. So when you receive the material, a lot of times you'll still run it and use it even though you may not like it or it's whack. Because sometimes they're not going to give you their best material that they can truly eat off
That's for
of.
the album. That's for the album.
So it's like, yeah, I could use this studio time for this dime, but I could do this at the house studio.
Exactly.
I could do this off the laptop. I could
exactly.
save that money. I could just use a break beat.
Yep.
You know, a throwaway line, a mixtape thing. So the other thing that happens is when you listen to features, the same thing.
Yep.
You're like, man, I'm pretty sure they want them to send that verse back.
A lot of times, like, oh, you can tell they weren't in the same studio at the same time. You could tell that, like, one of them does, like, oh, I really want a 2 Chainz feature, or I'm not going to call him out, whatever, a famous rapper feature, and they get it and they listen to it, they're like, it's all right, but you know, it's 2 Chainz, let's roll with it. Shout out to 2 Chainz. Mike Krzyzewski's on the mend from back surgery. He's so mad about Duke. He's so mad at his players. Even though he is on the mend from back surgery, he had a meeting. He said, kicking you guys out of the locker room, and you can't even walk around the campus with your team-issued gear. You can't even walk around the campus with the Duke D anywhere on you. Is Krzyzewski taking it too far? Should he just chill out and just worry about himself?
He's not the first person to do this. It was just done recently, I think, by the Alabama football program. Because what ends up happening when you're on the collegiate campus, wearing the team-issued gear gives you a mental sense of entitlement that you don't realize that you get. And so when you strip that away, it hopefully brings you back to the core of who you are, and that's a student athlete that we need to do their best to compete and try to help us win games.
Doesn't someone see? You know me. I don't like too much intensity. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't you know? I like to take it easy. And just because they lost some games and Grayson Allen tricked some people or whatever, like, doesn't someone in Coach K's life need to pull him aside and be like, Coach, like, we got this, okay? Like, you just worry about you, okay? We don't need you kicking people out and taking clothes off.
I was just looking at the collegiate rankings today, and when you get a chance, glance at them. There's so many notable programs that are just not in the top 10.
Gonzaga, number 1 right now. Everybody lost. Number 1, 2, and 4 lost on the same night.
What?
There's a big game in the National Football League coming up. And, I don't know, a little too long for my taste.
Between now and September, there's one meaningful football game, the most important one, the Super Bowl.
Thank you. Between the Atlanta Falcons and the New England Patriots. New England Patriots have an interesting relationship with Roger Goodell and the powers that be at the NFL. We all know the history, Spygate, this gate, that gate, deflate gate. In court for years and years because neither the Patriots organization nor Tom Brady would back down in their appealing process against Roger Goodell. Eventually, we know what happened.
Or admit to the transgressions that led to them be punished and suspended.
They clearly weren't a part of. Roger Goodell was asked about on The Herd. Big shout to Christine Leahy.
What up, though, Colin?
And he said it would be an honor to give the trophy to Tom Brady.
You lying? Why you always lying? You lying?
Why is Roger Goodell lying?
Because he doesn't give it to the player, he gives it to the owner. And this exercise has happened 4 times in Patriots history.
Recent Patriots history.
So they know how this process works. So in theory, Tom Brady's not going to be the person that initially receives it from the commissioner anyway.
I've never won the Super Bowl, but something tells me you're not worried about Roger Goodell at that moment.
And the other thing is, for everybody asking, the Patriots won't be standing up there. It's going to be the Falcons.
Okay.
Yep.
That's how you feel, Mr. Rose. But I remember the two of us right around this time last year, in between the 2 weeks in between the conference championship and the Super Bowl, just saying it's already over. I mean, you might as well just give it to the Panthers right now. Do you remember how confident we were about that? So you don't really know what's going to happen until the game is played, but you do know that Lady Gaga's halftime performance is going to be whack.
We know that.
We know that already. I don't know if the Patriots are going to win or the Falcons are going to win, but I know that Lady Gaga is not going to wow me at the halftime
Not
performance.
at all.
Preach.
Jim Harbaugh, are you familiar with him?
Yes, indeed.
Kanye West of college football. He stays in the news. Yesterday it was he's bringing his team to Rome. Today it is
paying the assistants all $1 million.
Yes. No, sorry, that was yesterday too. I love that. I like to see other people get paid. I'm never mad at another dude getting paid. I want everybody to be overpaid. I want all salaries in all businesses to be overinflated. Because the people that own those businesses, they're fine. Today, Jim Harbaugh is in the news because he had a glass of milk with the male truck driver that hit him when he was 7 years old.
That's very nice.
My question for you is,
Bury the hatchet.
would you forgive the male truck driver that hit you when you were 7 years old and broke your leg?
Well, I did get hit by a car before. I just didn't break my leg.
I got hit by a car 2 weeks ago. I'm not kidding.
I know. You're riding your bike.
Yeah.
I was doing something different. So in the neighborhood, we used to do something in the wintertime called shagging.
Wait a second. Anyone who's seen Austin Powers knows that this is a don't get fired topic.
So during the winter, when it's icy out, you wait till a car pull up at a stop sign or a light. You hustle behind the vehicle where they can't see you.
Oh, I know this move. I know
You
this
grab the back of the bumper.
Yep, hold on.
And you ride as far as you
hold on.
can.
Yep. I know that move. The conditions need to be perfect for this. The conditions need to be absolutely perfect.
And there was one time where I got enthusiastic, saw a nice one that I was going to get, but not paying attention to the flow of traffic. And luckily for me, the car was coming to a stop sign, so it was slowing down anyway. Ran right in front of a car and got hit. And my homies always tease me because I rolled off the car. And
So
they
you
say,
ended up on the hood?
yes, they used this voice, say, I'm all right, I'm all right, I'm all right.
Low key, a car going slowly hitting you and you jumping on the hood doesn't hurt at all. That happened to me in New York City twice.
I was good.
One time I kind of jumped on the hood just to be dramatic. You know what I mean? Just to kind of freak them out. Because I'm not the type of dude, you know who I'm not?
Lawsuit guy.
I'm not that guy. You know what I mean? Like if I'm fine, I got hit, like I said, I got hit by a car. I was riding my bike a couple weeks ago. I get up, the bike's okay, and I'm okay. Like, let's just keep it moving. We don't need to get like taxpayers' money involved.
But there's a book about frivolous lawsuits. There are people that strictly try to find ways
Live their lives.
or reasons to sue others.
That's not me. This is an interesting one.
Can you spell frivolous?
Yeah. Frivolous.
Very nice.
Do you know that was correct?
That's correct.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is anyone on the staff going to confirm this for us? Look at me. Spelling is not my strong suit either. But let me tell you, you're opening yourself up, Jalen, because once you do that to me on wax, once you know what I mean? Once you start doing that pop quiz stuff to me,
You
you're
always do
opening
that
yourself
to me.
up. But have I lately?
You always do that to me.
Well, welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Putting Jalen on the spot.
Dreams were your ticket out.
What's your middle name right now? What's your middle name? Your middle name. Between your first name and your last name, what is your middle name? What is your middle
You
name?
rushing me.
What is it?
I don't know. Anthony.
This is an ethical question, a moral question. So we're probably unsuited to answer it, but we're going to do it anyway. One of Usain Bolt's teammates on one of the relay teams in which he won a gold medal. He's famously won 3 gold medals in the last 3 Olympics, which is a feat that is unmatched. People always talk about, Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, this and that. Like, just for fun, put Usain Bolt in that conversation. And Michael Phelps. His teammate Nesta Carter is found to have committed an anti-doping rule violation. Therefore, Usain Bolt's medal has been stripped.
What?
Is it fair that Usain Bolt's medal was stripped because of his teammate's doping violation?
In this case, yes, because the Olympics are unique, and there was a team that actually finished second, third, or placed fourth that probably got cheated out of an opportunity that they could never recapture.
One thing that I don't get to vocalize too much on this show is that I'm a Usain Bolt stan, and I have been for a long time. And even as a Usain Bolt stan, I agree with you. It's like, look, if you're in that 4th spot, whatever country that was, and you don't get a medal, and then you find out that one of the teams that beat you was cheating, got a medal, I want a medal. I want my bronze.
Yes, indeed.
I want my bronze. Somewhere, whatever country that is. I don't know who it is, but let's just say it's Barbados. There's some Barbadians being like, we need to call whoever we need to call, get the IOC on the phone. They need to remake those medals.
No doubt.
I don't care if they're really bronze. You can give me copper ones, but I want that around my neck, and we're going to hold a ceremony.
And we don't have to feel bad for Usain. His individual excellence still is historically dominant.
The NCAA tournament, something which you are familiar with, usually has they have a big show on the Entertainment Sports Programming Network where they reveal the whole table. before the tournament. And people tune in. There's a lot of invested viewers. Well, they're taking a little page out of the college football book. They're going to give you a little sneaky peeky. The top 16 at that time.
So the top 4 seeds?
At that time, because
region?
there's still going to be more basketball to be played. But they're saying, hey, right now, here's what we're thinking. I love this idea because I love drama, and I'm a television producer, and that's good ratings and good show and just dramatic. Do you like this idea?
I do.
Good.
And you know who I like it the most for? The players. Because it gives you a snapshot of where you stand.
Where you're at.
Usually you never know. Literally. Like, where are we going to place? And so for the teams that know 1 through 4, it helps them. And also for the latter teams who understand that they're going to represent the lower seeds, you can figure who you may end up playing.
In Virginia, there was an SKB from the zoo.
Shame on you.
You're the best. You're the best. I love doing this show with you. In Virginia, there was an SKB from the zoo.
Shame on you.
It was a red panda. Let's imagine you're in Virginia. You're just minding your own business. And you come across, you're in the wild, you're in the wilderness going on a jog, just seeing nature, enjoying it like Robert Frost, like Jalen Rose and Robert Frost were just together on a hike in the woods. Imaginary Robert Frost.
Jack Frost nipping at your nose.
And you come across a red panda. You know that this red panda is an escapee from the zoo. Do you turn in the red panda? Do you call the authorities? Or do you look at that red panda and say, you know what, you're free now, keep it moving?
Free now, keep it moving.
That's what I'm saying. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. What are we doing this show?
We give the people what they need. We give the people what they need.
Part of giving the people what they want is opening up our phone lines. If you call 985-80-JALEN, you can leave us a message. Let's listen to the first voicemail.
What up, though? This is Ben Dudley from Montreal, Canada. Big ups to you guys. I've been listening to the podcast since day one. I just love it. It's part of my routine. If I don't have a podcast, I feel sick. Anyway, I just had a question for you guys. Would you guys ever consider to invite one of the most entertaining person ever, which is Gilbert Arenas, to be on the podcast, just to crack a few jokes, talk about, the NBA and all that. Yeah, I was just wondering. So once again, big ups to both of you guys, and give the people what they want.
Very nice.
Love all of our international callers. Sometimes when you do this show, it's just the two of us in a room. And it kind of feels like that. That's how comfortable we are. And sometimes I forget that people around the world listen. So big shout to you, Ben, for reminding us all that people actually listen. We love our everyday podcast listeners. Subscribe to the Jalen and Jacoby podcast. Those are the people that we have the strongest relationship with. We're with you every day. You're part of our crew. To answer your question, Gilbert Arenas is extremely entertaining. And we have a very strict guest list here. And it's not that Gilbert Arenas isn't accomplished enough or entertaining enough to be on the guest list. He's a wild card, man. Do you follow him on social media? Popping up in Nick's young house, making fun of his kid. I don't know if I want to start a relationship with Gilbert Arenas. I don't want him showing up in my house unannounced climbing over fences. I'm scared of Gilbert Arenas. I'm sorry. Let's listen to the next voicemail.
Yo, what up? I've been with this girl for 5 years, and we were supposed to get married, and we just broke up because she wanted to get, I guess, the cheating out of her system, but eventually she wants to get married. You think I should do it?
Thank you so much for the call. A couple things about that call. You know how most people start with their name and their city? You know what I mean? He definitely admitted that. But there's a couple people listening like, is that Steve? That kind of sounds like Steve. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, a couple things about that. You might get back. Not every breakup is final. Anyone that's been in a relationship knows that sometimes you get back. Another thing is, I've got an interesting opinion on this. And it's also later in the show. I know my wife isn't listening. It's not so bad if she cheats on you and then you get back, because you can just hang that over her head for the rest of the relationship. Like, it might feel bad at first. It'll hurt and sting for about 2 months. But you can have the rest of your life. Literally, you guys could be in an old folk home and she'd be like, why are you looking at Stacy? Be like, well, you remember that dude 50 years ago? That's why I'm looking at Stacey, and that's why you can't say anything about it.
5 years. Good luck.
Good luck. I hope you guys get back together. Let's listen to the next voicemail.
What's up, guys? This is Ryan. I'm calling in from Chicago. Just wanted to say, even if the Clippers did trade for Carmelo, it would not make them for real. So with that being said, if Carmelo wanted to waive his no-trade clause to come play for my intramural team, we'll give the New York Knicks 75 cents a bag of chips and $20 cold cash.
Ryan, I want to talk about your intramural team, because, I mean, I'd say the highest level of basketball I played was my intramural team in college. We had a great team. I'm named the Dutch Masters after my Danish heritage. So we'll take the offer for your intramural team off the table. I believe what he was getting at is
you don't have the salary.
But you don't. And Lala's involved. It's got to be a big market. The real question you were asking is, if Carmelo is traded to the Clippers, are the Clippers for real?
They're better. More formidable. What position have I said they need to fill for the last 5 years?
The 3 spot. 5 years? That's generous. 6, 7?
They've had everybody. Grant Hill, Danny Granger, Steven Jackson. The best one was Matt Barnes.
I did like him there. So here's my thing about
Lance
this.
Stevenson,
at the beginning
Josh
of the season,
Smith.
remember when the Clippers were so hot at the beginning of the season? They were like a fancy championship pick. Do you know what they're gonna keep their core and add Carmelo Anthony to that. So they're definitely for real if they add Carmelo Anthony. Let's listen to the next voicemail.
Hey, yo, what up? This is Jason calling from New York by way of California. Yo, man, I have one question. This is pretty much going towards Jacoby because, Jalen, you're just unreasonable with this. What's up with the delivery fees and the tips? I just delivered some food from Grubhub. I saw some up to 20%. What's the correct percentage? Help me out here, okay?
It's a great question. There's a lot of apps out there. Postmates, is a famous one. Some other ones that I just don't really mention. But one thing I've learned? If your restaurant doesn't have a delivery system, then I don't want your food delivered to me. I don't need a third party involved.
Correct.
You know what you should do? You should cook the food, give it to somebody, and they should bring it to me. We don't need to get another third party trade. You know what I mean? Like, that's what the delivery fees are all about, because that third party needs to eat. I like to keep my relationship one-on-one with me and the people that make and deliver my food. We don't need to have another corporation involved.
Correct. If you need to involve another corporation, go pick the food up.
Exactly. Let's listen to the next voicemail.
Hey, Jalen and Jacoby. My name is Moise from Little Rock, Arkansas. And my question for you guys is, in the past 10 years, who do you all think is the most underappreciated athlete in the NBA? Now, for me personally, I think it's Dirk Nowitzki, but I'm a homer, so my answer is probably biased. I want to hear what you guys think. Keep giving the people what they want.
Really interesting question, and no name is popping into my head. Who is the most underappreciated NBA athlete of the previous decade?
Chris Paul.
Ooh, I like that
Hasn't
answer.
been to the conference finals. When you talk about top point guards in the league, he doesn't shoot like Steph. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have the handle like Kyrie. But he's a hybrid of the two. He guards his position. He's a terrific playmaker. He still gets you around 18 or 19, still gets you 10 assists. And to further cement my answer, deserved to make this year's All-Star game and got snubbed.
I think that's a great answer. And I think that so many people just distill it down to playoff success. And I think that's, Chris Paul. Well, obviously, because he's never made to the conference finals. He's never been out of the second round. Listen, if you watch the game, you kind of don't need an offense when you have Chris Paul. He is the offense. Your offense is give the ball to Chris Paul, set him a pick, and great things will happen after that. And he plays referees better than any NBA athlete I have ever seen in my life. We've got time for another voice.
What up, though? This is Jamal from the DMV. I just want to say, big fan of the show. Question. Where do I send fan art? Do I tweet it to you? What do I do with it? And shout out to Reggie. More waves in the 7 Seas. Thank you.
Reggie's getting gas. Reggie's getting gas. Yep. We're going to have to put a picture out of Reggie's waves. You know what I mean? Because what people think Reggie's waves look like are not what Reggie's waves look like.
His Jordan game is better than his waves.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. But to answer your question.
I'm catching back up.
To answer your question, if you tweet at Jalen and Jacoby, you can follow our 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed, and you can tweet fan art to us, or you can just politely ask for the address, and we'll give it to you. What are we doing on the show, Jalen Rose? Opening up our 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed, we got some good questions. First question is for you. I'm going to make you answer it because there is the right answer, and something tells me you will have it. Who are tougher athletes, hockey players or basketball players? What are you hesitating about?
Basketball players.
I'm leaving. You know when you leave, I'm leaving. I'm leaving.
All right, I'm joking. I'm
Thank
joking.
you. Thank you.
I tried to quantify it in my brain.
Thank you.
In one way, shape, or form.
You can't.
Here's why. You're trying to. Here's why.
No. You don't get that.
Why they're allowed? Why are they celebrated when they fight?
Jalen,
we don't have to hold me back.
Do you know why they
in hockey?
Do you know why they're allowed to fight? Because the
get fired.
The NHL just wants to.
That's very nice, sir.
That's what the NHL is doing.
I like that.
That's what the NHL is doing.
So that's why one is soaring in popularity, and we don't talk about the other one on this program.
Riaz, who I once pronounced as Riaz, and he tweeted me and corrected me. I'm sorry, Riaz. My bad, dude. It's just Diaz with an R. I don't know how I got that wrong. I apologize. That's my bad. Sometimes you gotta look in the mirror. My fault, dude. I apologize. He's got a good question that I don't even have a real answer for. I've been trying to think of it for the last 2 minutes. We know Belichick is the best coach in the NFL, but who is the clear-cut second best coach in the NFL? That's really interesting. I'm trying to think.
I'm going with
like long tenured coaches. They're screaming Harbaugh from the control room. No, his brother is John Harbaugh he's talking about. But it's not John Harbaugh. It's not Andy Reid. It's not Dan Quinn. It's not Ron Rivera.
To me, it's either Pete Carroll or Mike Tomlin.
Yep. Those are good answers, Mr. Rose. Good job. Good job. I would say that pick them between
And
Pete
I'm going
Carroll,
by who I would want to be coaching my squad.
Yeah, I would say, based on that exact same thing, I would say this. That there are three that you could pick. There's Pete Carroll, Mike Tomlin, and Greg Popovich. Those are the three. Pete Carroll, Mike Tomlin, Greg Popovich. I would like Greg Popovich to coach my football team. I'm telling you. Guy's a hard worker. Another hard worker is my man, Big Crown. I think Big Crown, not only is the dude that tweets us every day, he's also the mail carrier that left a voicemail. What? He's now like my 25th best friend on the planet. Yep. I talk to him more than I talk to my college friends. They're my best friends. Shout out to Big Crown. What up, though? Jalen, if Larry Brown wrote a book, would you be concerned about what he says?
Not at all. We buried the hatchet. And I respectfully appreciate the fact that he apologized for initially prejudging who he felt that I was based on my history as a loudmouth member of the Fab Five, bad teeth and bad skin, and was a college kid on a public forum. And I accept.
Okay. I'm really glad that you guys had that exchange. I have a very simple question. When he was done apologizing and he was looking at you with the face and he was silent, did you apologize too?
I didn't have a reason to apologize.
Jalen, are you trying to tell me that during your entire relationship with Larry Brown, you never did anything you regret? You never acted a little childish? You never pouted in practice? You never disrespected his authority? You never did anything that you feel like you should apologize for?
No, because it was immediate with us. Like, it was immediate. As soon as I got traded to Indiana, it started. So I didn't have a chance to do nothing. I probably would have. Probably did it with everybody else in the world, but I didn't have a chance with him.
Okay.
And we buried the hatchet when I came to New York. And then I was there for a week, and he leaked to the media, like, why did they trade for him? I'm like, we just talked about this a month ago. You told me you wanted me to come.
You know how I'm a die easy sports fan, Jalen? You know what else I am? Fake apologizer. I don't hold that so serious. Like, a lot of people are like, I'm not apologizing. I would never apologize. I'll apologize. I don't care if I feel it or not. I'll just apologize to make you feel better. And in my head, I know that it was fake. My wife definitely isn't listening at this point. It's late at night. She's putting kids to sleep. I've never say that in the first segment. Ever. Quick question from Polo von Millhouse. Great name. Help my coworker and I settle this debate. Who's the better player? I have a strong opinion on this one. Andrew Wiggins or Jabari Parker? Parker. This is his second year in the league. I don't have the stats in front of me. 20 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, something like that. Second year in the league. And lately, in the past month, has come on. He is developing as a superstar. No shots at Andrew Wiggins.
I'll roll with that.
I've seen leaps and bounds. His jump shooting has improved.
And it's a really good comparison.
Mid-range game.
That's a good
dunks.
one.
That is a good question. You cannot go wrong.
Bring more of those.
You cannot go wrong. Yeah. Send us either ors. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. That's all we have for today. Thank you so much for listening on ESPN Radio, for watching on ESPN2 and ESPN News, and subscribing to the Jalen and Jacoby podcast.
You're far too kind.
Gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need.